Master Studios here, how y'all doing? So, at the time of me making this video, today actually marks a pretty big day for Ninjago because today marks the release of the first ever trailer for Ninjago Legends Monstrosity. This is something that we've known about for a while, but it's never really been clear what exactly this whole thing was going to be. However, like I said, today was the day where we got the first trailer for it, and can I just say, I genuinely think this is one of the best trailers that we've gotten for anything Ninjago related. This trailer, I think, is genuinely fantastic with so many absolutely incredible things in it. And in today's video, I want to talk about the trailer and go over some things that we know when it comes to Ninjago Legends. So, let's get into this whole thing. So, right off the bat, I just want to say this isn't going to be a proper trailer analysis or breakdown video or anything. This is more so just going to be me taking a look at the trailer and going over some of my general thoughts when it comes to this trailer, going over stuff that I find to be interesting for not just it, but also stuff when it comes to Ninjago Legends in general. So let's start off this whole thing by taking a look at what the plot of this whole thing is going to be. We know that when it comes to whatever it is we're going to be getting in June, it's unclear if this is going to be all of Legends Monstrosity or just one thing from it. But either way, we know that when it comes to, again, whatever we're going to be getting, this is something that's going to be focusing on Kai shortly after he left the monastery early on during Season 1 of Dragon's Rising when he went to go and look for the ninja, with him winding up in the Land of Monsters, with him having to fight against this absolutely gigantic monster in the Land of Monsters, while also working alongside a dragon who was also affected by the monster, as well as having to work alongside this seemingly sentient mech that apparently failed a fire master in the past. And this is something interesting that I want to point out, but when it comes to said previous fire master, this would have been one of Kai's ancestors, because remember, elemental powers are typically passed down genetically, so again, this would have been one of Kai's ancestors. And we can see that when it comes to Kai, he really wants to get out of the Land of Monsters, and he really doesn't want to stay here, but he's still going to be there anyway, but he still wants to do what he can in order to try and find the other members of the ninja team. And that's the general overall premise when it comes to, again, whatever this is going to end up being when it releases in June. And honestly, this is something that I do think is honestly pretty interesting. Having a story primarily focusing on Kai in this brand new area, the Land of Monsters, and having him team up with these pretty interesting allies, I think this could be something legitimately really interesting and compelling to see when it does eventually come out. So now I want to go over some stuff for the trailer that I find to be legitimately really interesting, starting off with the animation, and I think that the animation looks absolutely incredible. The 2D animation that we're getting this time around for this short, I think it legitimately looks absolutely fantastic. Obviously, this is the exact same animation that we got back for the Legacy Reimagined short Golden Legacy, and I think it honestly looks really, really good here as well. I really like the muted color palette that everything has, with there being very minimal coloring outside of some stuff like elemental powers and Kai's red headband. I think it honestly does look legitimately really good. And for the most part, I think that the character designs honestly look legitimately really good. You can tell that they are definitely different than what we're used to for Ninjago, given how, again, this is 2D animation, but I still think it looks really, really good. I will admit that sometimes Kai's design does look a bit off, but for the most part, I think that Kai does honestly look legitimately really good in this trailer. Also, speaking of Kai, I think that Vincent Tong is doing an absolutely fantastic job voicing him this time around. I think that Vincent Tong in general does a really great job at voicing Kai, but this time in particular, I think it's honestly really interesting for what he's doing. You can tell that when it comes to Vincent Tong, he's doing a more serious take on Kai this time around, which makes sense given everything that's actually going on in Legends, and I think it honestly does work really well. You can feel the genuine emotion in the way that he speaks, and you can feel the weight for everything that he's saying. I think it's something that honestly is really, really good overall. And also when it comes to Kai, as I brought up earlier, I think the whole premise of him being in the Land of Monsters and having to work alongside the dragon and the sentient mech is a really interesting idea. It's something that we've never really seen before when it comes to Ninjago, and I'm really interested in seeing what we're actually going to be getting when it comes to this. And I also think it's really great seeing that when it comes to Kai, he's doing whatever he can in order to push himself, in order to work through all these struggles, with him being motivated in order to try and get back to the rest of the ninja team in order to find them. That makes perfect sense for Kai's character, and I genuinely cannot wait to see what this is going to do with him. And I'm also wondering if when it comes to Legends Monstrosity, this is going to tie into something with Kai during Dragon's Rising, specifically when it comes to that nightmare that Kai had during Season 2 of Dragon's Rising. Because when it comes to Kai, him and Ryu are the only members of the team where we don't really know what their nightmares were. When it comes to all the other members of the team, we were either shown them or the writers ended up revealing some information surrounding them. Kai, and again also Ryu, we never really got the chance to see that actually. And I'm wondering if when it comes to Legends Monstrosity, it's going to reveal something that actually connects into Kai's nightmare. Given how towards the end of the trailer, the dragon warns Kai about turning into a monster with him being in the land of monsters, I wonder if when it comes to Kai, he's going to do something that he ultimately regrets and he's worried about the rest of the team finding out, and that was the nightmare that he had. I feel like that is a possibility, especially given the way that he looks at Nia after he's done having that nightmare, but ultimately we're just going to have to wait and see what's going to happen. So that's a pretty basic overlook on things when it comes to Legends Monstrosity, but there's one other thing in particular that I want to talk about when it comes to Legends, and it's that when it comes to Legends, I think it's safe to say this is something that definitely has an older audience in mind when it comes to Ninjago. Given the stuff that we actually see in the trailer and what the description talks about, as well as stuff when it comes to the actual sets clearly being for an older audience, you can tell that when it comes to Legends Monstrosity, it's definitely going in a more mature direction compared to what we're used to when it comes to Ninjago. Not full-blown adults and anything, but definitely something more mature than what we're used to. Because it looks like when it comes to Legends, it looks like it's going to be putting a larger emphasis on the older fans when it comes to the franchise. And this is something that I honestly find to be very interesting, and something that I'm honestly really excited about, actually. This is something that Ninjago fans have definitely been asking for a while, Ninjago to go in a more mature direction, and I think it's really interesting that when it comes to Legends, that's essentially what we're getting. It's basically Ninjago in a more mature way compared to what we're used to. Again, this isn't going to go like full-blown adult when it comes to Ninjago, but again, more mature than what we've seen so far when it comes to the franchise. Which is something that I do think is really interesting because, again, this is something that fans have been asking for. But also, when it comes to the focus on older fans, it looks like it's possible that when it comes to Legends, it's going to be putting a larger focus on the original ninja, showing stuff when it comes to them specifically. We already saw that with Kai when it comes to this trailer, but I feel like it's possible that we could end up seeing this with some of the other ninjas as well. And this is something that I think could be really interesting to see, especially when it comes to the fans like me who really want to see more things with the original ninja. So I feel like when it comes to having this going at the exact same time as Dragon's Rising, it's essentially something for people who want to see both. When it comes to the people who want to see more new things when it comes to the franchise, Dragon's Rising exists so fans can watch that. Meanwhile, when it comes to the fans who want to see more of the older stuff when it comes to the franchise, specifically more things with the original ninja, Legends Monstrosity exists. Again, I think this is something that's honestly pretty interesting actually, because it's basically catering to the fans that want to see both or want to see more than one thing in comparison to the other. And again, I think that this is something honestly legitimately really great to see. Now, we don't know if this is going to be the case for all of the original ninja, if each of them are going to be in this kind of position when it comes to Legends Monstrosity, but I think it would honestly be really interesting if that did end up happening. I would honestly love it if each of the original ninja ended up getting their own thing when it comes to Legends Monstrosity, with something focusing on each of them as something for fans of each of these ninja who want to see something like that. I think that could be something legitimately really cool and interesting to see, but ultimately we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. But personally, I really hope it does happen. I think that this is a really interesting direction to take the franchise, and I'm legitimately really interested in seeing what we're actually going to be getting when it comes to Legends Monstrosity. And seeing again if this is something that's just going to be for Kai or for the other members of the team as well. Either way though, I'm definitely really hooked on this. And so that's pretty much all I got for you guys. So tell me down below, what do you guys think? Tell me what are your guys' thoughts when it comes to Legends Monstrosity, and what are you guys looking for when it comes to this? Again, tell me down below, and I hope you guys enjoy. Later guys, this is Dimension Master Studios, signing off.